Assalamu alaikum, peace. I'm Coach Nazir, one of the founders of Outstanding Personal Relationships, one of the authors of the book, Let's Talk Polygamy Uncensored. Now, today I had an interview with one of my clients. All right, his name is Abdel Jalil. I want to share his story with you. We had a candid conversation. He kind of went into what coaching has really done for his life. Now, look, I'd rather have clients speak about what they've experienced so you can hear really from the horse's mouth, if you will. So I'm going to hop back in after the interview. It's not going to take that long. I'm going to let you know, look, if you like the tools and resources and whatnot that are used, I'll let you know how you'll be able to actually get access as well. Enjoy. I'd love to know your thoughts.
So without any further ado, let me introduce to you my dear brother, Abdel Jalil. Please, brother, let us know a little bit about yourself, your background. Feel free to take as much time as you want.
Inshallah. Bismillah. To everybody, I'm Abdel Jalil, 41 years old. I'm a truck driver by profession. Definitely a artist or a creator within my soul. So doing my best to make a shift in my life. Definitely learned about coaching maybe 3 to 4 years ago. And I definitely knew that that's something that I needed. But first, I had to get myself mentally acclimated to absorb. Like my cup was already full. So I had to empty my cup, learn some new things, get to ground level to where I can really get into this coaching situation. Definitely always been pro polygyny. Alhamdulillah, I was raised Muslim. So, of course, like most young men, such as myself, at the early age of first, second grade, I'm like, oh, I'm going to have 4 wives and this and this and that. And ever since then, I've been working towards that as I thought. But really, I was just getting in my own way, stumbling over mistakes that I think most men make. So I'm an entrepreneur. I love riding motorcycles. And yeah, that's pretty much the basics of who I am. I have a family, definitely married already, alhamdulillah. Have 6 children and been married more than once, which might look like a bad thing, but I definitely learned so much from being married in those experiences.
When you think about where you were before you decided to invest in yourself for coaching, what was the main problem that you had before joining my program?
The main one definitely was clarity. Clarity and purpose. So a little bit about me, I can definitely be all over the place sometimes. And being all over the place and not really understanding that there are certain structures that I could have in my life, I was really freestyling my whole life or majority of my life. So prior to joining, I was like, I need to figure out how to get from point A to point B. And yeah, I could write down a simple plan and sometimes follow it. Most of the time, though, it was I'm on schedule, life happens. Then I felt like I just had to shift with life instead of staying, uh, for lack of better words, staying stuck in my direction.
Mhm.
So the main thing that I was struggling with was what is my purpose and how do I get there? Is there a roadmap? And this just wasn't polygyny. This was just in general. But then knowing that my brother, Coach Nazir, was into polygyny as well, it was just the icing on the cake of, hey, this might be what I've been looking for.
Okay, good stuff. So you definitely wanted to separate yourself from the mediocre masses.
Oh,
Not
no
just be
doubt.
average, really live
I
life
mean,
at a high level, if you will.
I was already that. I've always been separated, but not really knowing my purpose and why I'm separated, why I'm such an introvert, things of that nature. So Alhamdulillah, I've always felt like, there was something more to me. But having mentor, coach, friends, or somebody to help me recognize what was in myself, I haven't really had that in the way that I was able to get it through my coaching.
Okay, good stuff. So, out of all the programs that are out there, all right, I know that you mentioned that. Okay, I practice polygyny, so maybe that's it. But out of all the programs and coaching programs, online courses, all the gurus, and so on and so forth, why did you specifically choose to work with me directly, kind of under the purvey of what we do at Outstanding Personal Relationships?
Let's start from the top. I got a long list, I believe, but definitely the first thing was you Muslim, alhamdulillah. And for me, that was the key core for me to work with you, because I know you have the same sentiments, the same principles, the same morals that I have. Now, I've looked at other people out there and they've offered me, their services, and it just didn't seem right for me. And I tell you, the main thing is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us as Muslims, don't take for intimate people the disbelievers. And for me, that's a guiding factor for my life. So if I'm going to tell Joe Blow all about my intimate details, he ain't gonna give me, even if he tried to the best of his ability, he's not gonna give me what my Muslim brother's gonna give me. That's number one. Number two is the fact that, yeah, you were in polygyny, and I've seen your work through the years, not just, when I decided I want to practice polygyny, or when I decided I wanted to be a coach or to have a coach, but it was through the years of, oh, this brother practiced polygyny. Then it went from, oh, the brother coaches. Then it was, well, he's a coach, he practiced polygyny, and he's Muslim. So then or as I'm talking to these other coaches and other people, I was like, okay, well, my brother has a reasonable price point for me. And I needed to do what it took to get to that resource, because as I grew and as I learned, the more that I pour into myself, the more I invest in myself, the higher I'm gonna grow, the better I'm gonna be. So when I chose you, it was for a number of different reasons, but the main three was Muslim, being in polygyny already, and a proven coaching course that I found value just in the YouTube videos. So I'm like, I know under the cover, behind the scenes, this is gonna be beautiful.
That's definitely good to hear. Definitely good to hear. So when you're talking about clarity and purpose, which that's one of the first times I heard that, like, help me find my purpose, because it sounds so mysterious and right, like, what is my
Right.
purpose? We know what our purpose is. A lot of Allah let us know our purpose, generally speaking, right? But
Right.
what was, or was there anything in particular about the program that really assisted you, that really helped you overcome challenges and really helped catapult you to a different level?
I mean, it was just your presence. I mean, at the end of the day, when you got a mentor, big brother, coach who ain't just gonna let you give a bunch of feedback, tell you. I unintentionally tried, and mashallah, when I was just trying to fill the blank with words, you called me out on it. And that's something that sometimes we don't get enough of as men, or just as people in general. But it really was just you holding me accountable for what I said I'm gonna do and what I said I needed to get done. And it wasn't like you were giving me a curriculum of this what you gotta do, this what you gotta do. You were asking me what I wanted and then calling me out for me not doing what I said I wanted to do. And for me, that was life changing. Now, yeah, it was a bunch of education, a bunch of exercises that you gave, but the accountability, the strength, the showing me you already in position and I can be in a similar position. of just having my strong suit as a man, having that king type mentality. It was the biggest change for me.
Okay. No, that's good. I love to hear that, because one of the things about getting your shift together is you need to get your shift together. And I only know that because I had people pour into me, and people that I gave permission to push me. You know what I'm saying?
That
So
part.
knowing it's out of love and want to see your success is different than some type of major pain drill sergeant type stuff.
That part.
You know
Yes,
what I'm saying?
sir.
That's not really effective. You know what I'm saying? So
Yep.
let me ask you, as a result of really implementing different things throughout the program, because it is curriculum based when I work with people one-on-one, you know, many people have no idea what coaching is. They don't really see the value if they come from certain backgrounds or communities, and others recognize it right away. They understand that the highest performers, or those who are elite, tend to have coaches and mentors that help catapult them, right? But what is a result, or some results that you really got or you experience by being a part of what I do with coaching?
I'll tell you, the top one for me was, like I said, clarity and purpose. I first took up, or when I first decided in 2024 that I was going to hire you as a coach, when I heard your price, my immediate response was to shrink and be like, yeah, nah, I'm cool. I ain't finna pay that price. I'm not, nope. But then I was like, nah, man, I got to make this shift. I need to get my shift together. So I grind hard, but at the same time, I was having marital stress that every marriage goes through. And at the beginning of 2025, when I started my coaching, I was still in that stressful situation. Fast forward 3 months, maybe 4 months into our coaching, I think it was only 3 months. But anyway, um, my wife started noticing the difference. And I didn't even notice the difference in myself, but my wife started noticing the difference, and she started being more feminine and more secure, I would think is the proper word, that was showing me that the changes was happening, even though I couldn't see it. She was seeing my behavior change. She was seeing me keeping my little promises. She was seeing me be stronger, be more emotionally mature about handling my situations, being less responsive, but being more proactive. So um, it all came from understanding that the clarity that I have will translate into my family feeling more secure, understanding that dad got this, hubby got this. You know what I mean? Like that major shift for me in my mental state of having clarity, being able to follow a plan and be consistent in doing, like, one of your key phrases, stop shooting on yourself. And I was should on myself a bunch. And I know I'm a man of action, but sometimes I should do this right now. But Call of Duty is calling my name. Or I should do this right now, but I just want to go ride my motorcycle. That type of stuff. So I was really able to refocus and have that clarity. And that was it for me, bro.
Excellent. First of all, congrats on that. You know what I'm saying? Most people are professional starters, but amateur finishers. All right, they like to dibble and dab and try this or try that and say it didn't work, when the reality is they didn't work and really follow through. So they want the success before the work.
No
But
doubt.
the only place that's true is in the dictionary. You know what I'm saying? The only time you're gonna get to success before work is in the dictionary, right?
Right.
So I appreciate that, because one, you let me know that others recognized before you. So for you, it was on a subconscious level. You were doing the thing that you committed to. So you clearly were a better husband. And I'm sure if you asked your children, or if they articulated it, or maybe your wife even let you know, that also impacted you being a father, or even with your companions and other individuals that you work with, that you lead. You know what I'm saying, that we discussed before, right?
Right.
So all of those things mean that you have not only separated yourself from mediocre masses, but you're choosing to be exceptional. The challenge is that to be exceptional, you have to be the one that's the exception.
Indeed.
It's not easy. It can be a lonely path. It can be a challenging and painful path, but the rewards of it are immense versus staying put with the status quo and staying stuck. So I definitely appreciate you sharing that. Now, how has your life changed since really achieving that? Since coaching, really, how's your life changed? How's it improved overall speaking?
I gotta be honest. I put myself on a path to success, having a mentor, having a coach every week. We check in, I'm doing the exercises. And then, life started. I felt like no, it ain't I felt like I got so much into an old routine after our coaching sessions. So to be honest, yeah, I'm still making moves. Alhamdulillah. I'm still pushing forward. I'm still going over the exercises and things of that nature. But I caught myself going back into some of my old routines of should know myself. So what has changed is my conscious level of what I used to do versus what I know I should do and what I know I am doing. And that, for me, the consciousness, the being able to, or self-awareness to see, oh no, you falling back into the old routine, bro. You gotta step it up, having those self-talks. And even, you taught me an exercise with just breathing to recenter myself and get back focused on a task in the moment. And that has been so life-changing for me, because when I get overwhelmed or whatever the case may be, um, I'm able to shift back into my, my elite status, if you will.
Indeed, indeed. I love it. Here, the reality is, since you raise your self-awareness and that consciousness, you catch yourself. You don't fall into that rut that many people do and don't see it till 10, 15, 20 years have passed.
Exactly.
Or years, period. And they're looking like, what happened? You know what I'm saying? So I love that. Again, you being transparent, being honest. We didn't rehearse any responses. This is
Yeah.
On the cup. So where do you think you'd be if you look at, you just didn't do any coaching, didn't have the tools, the resources, you didn't have, we didn't work together one-on-one. You maybe saw some YouTube videos, but where would you imagine you'd be if you didn't take advantage of coaching?
Man, I'd be stressed out somewhere, isolated on my truck, trying to figure my life out. That's my favorite term in life. Huh? I'm just trying to figure my life out. That was my, when people ask, how you doing, man? I'm just trying to figure my life out, man. I'm just trying to figure it out. I would definitely be back in depression. Definitely be, like I said, trying to figure it out. Like, what is it that I'm missing? I know something's missing. I'm offering my salat. I'm giving my zakat. I'm trying to fast. And alhamdulillah, my spiritual growth is beautiful. But when it comes to this dunya, it's like, man, what's up? Like, I can't win for losing. And just saying things like that, you help me to see, man, the way you talk to yourself, the way you express yourself to other people is really taking a toll on you mentally. And it was like,
Right.
oh, okay, well, I got to talk better to myself. I got to say better things to myself. And I would definitely be just the introvert, antisocial, whichever one it is. Yeah. Be that guy in my truck, just doing my work, keeping my head down, making sure I pay the bills and try to give my family their rights. But I wouldn't be striving to do much more than that. Like my YouTube channel, my motorcycle group, anything outside of just work, come home, work, come home. I know I would have just been stressing out. Like, I ain't got time for none of that. I can't do none of that because I just gotta work. And that's where when I first met you, that's where I was. I just got to work. I don't want to do this no more, but this is my life, and I just had to accept it type mentality. And alhamdulillah, I didn't accept it, and I was able, and I am able to continue to grow and be bigger and better and stronger.
Alhamdulillah, it's definitely excellent to hear because, again, most people stay stuck. Very few. Those who want to be outstanding have to be willing to stand out. So that's really good to hear. Now, there are people watching this video, all right, and they might be on the fence about just booking a call to go ahead and see if my program may be for them, right? Because it may or may not be until we really just talk and see. That's where we all started from. So what would you say to those brothers that feel very similar? They might feel stuck, like you mentioned the word stuck earlier. What would you say to them? They're on the fence, like, should I even book a call?
Bruh. First, I would say stop being scared, man. It ain't nothing to it but to do it, like in a real way. Get out your own way, because that was my situation. I was in my own way, overthinking it, trying to come up with the best scenario of why it wouldn't work, why it's not worth it. But stop being scared and get out your own way. It's really just that simple. And I know everything can cloud that thought process, but being a man of action, or just taking that leap of faith, if you will, it's going to change your life. There's nothing short of it's going to change your life. And most of the time, us as men, our cup is already full. We already know it all. We already got the answers. And a lot of the times, we don't know what we don't know. So we're trying to figure it out on our own. And sometimes we get a little crumb here and we get a little suggestion there. And, we overthink it and fall back on it until the perfect time, and all of these different things of why we stuck where we at. But it's really just get out your own way. Quit being scared, man. Let's do this. Or do the initial call. From just the initial call, I promise you, it's gonna be worth the little 2 cents that you have to put in. But what you're gonna get just from the initial call is gonna be like, oh snap, I had no idea. Just talking for an hour could be so life changing. It's really like that, in my opinion. For me, I was thirsty though. And that's the other thing I would say. If you ain't really thirsty, if you ain't really out here, as they say, if you ain't hungry, then yeah, you probably don't want to move in that direction. You got to have the drive already in you, because if it ain't in you and you just doing something, then you ain't going to get the proper results. But if it's in you, then you're going to do this work and you'll see the results. So that's what I would say to anybody thinking about joining this or wanting to figure out if it's something you should or shouldn't do. It's worth it. Just give it a try.
Indeed, appreciate that. And again, I want to congratulate you, as well, again, for stepping up, for making a decision, for following through, for choosing to stop shooting all over yourself. All right. And being accountable, being transparent, and doing the work. Because the fact is, all work works. You know what I'm saying? So
say that. Yeah.
Makes a huge difference. And to hear that now, your wife is even more on your team, more in your corner. She's able to be better, more feminine in everything that you mentioned. And any future wives that you may bring on. Now you already have a way to vet and attract whoever you may be looking for or open to, because I know polygyny is still on the table for you. So
no doubt.
Maybe some sisters reaching out. Who knows? Right.
Hey.
Also, as a father, you know what I'm saying, as well. And of course, as an entrepreneur in what you're doing in your endeavors, and we're not going to a big old documentary thing, but again, I want to congratulate you for being proactive, for being that good example. And of course, sharing your time, because many of my clients, of course, when it comes to polygyny, it's more of a taboo thing. So they're not willing to necessarily be public in front of the camera, which is fine. It's all good. And no doubt, those who are not serious, those who are just curious and not ready to take their life to the next level, they're not going to reach out anyway. So this isn't for them.
Nah.
It's for those
it ain't for them.
somebody's wife or somebody's future wife may be looking like, hey, my brother or this person I want to marry needs to look at this and check it out or get coaching, whatever it may be. Who knows? With that being said, again, I appreciate you. Have any closing words or final comments for those who may be watching?
My closing words is this, man. It's in you, not on you. It's already there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already put it there. But you gotta go dig it out. It's gonna take you to put forth some effort, to go through some struggle. But if you realize, and a lot of people don't even just come to this realization, is you're gonna stress either which direction you choose. You choose to do the wrong thing, you choose to do the right thing, you still gonna have struggle and tests attached to it. You might as well be growing to be somebody bigger and better than staying where you at, still going through the same shenanigans that you're going through. So that's my closing. Appreciate it.
All right, Coach Nazir back again. Listen, I hope you enjoyed the interview. Told you it was going to be good, right? Indeed, indeed. Look, if you want access to the coaching, the tools, the resources, the curriculum that we went through to really help him level up and become outstanding, feel free to book a call. Go to coachnazir.com or anywhere on this page. If there's a link or something like that, click the link, go ahead, book a call if you're serious and not just curious about being outstanding, meaning you're willing to stand out and separate from the mediocre masses. Because just like I know, nobody's striving for average. Average is nothing but the top or the bottom of the top. With that being said, if we're going to work together, make sure you book that call because that's where it all starts. All right, y'all. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.